guys, and welcome back to another video. So, I usually like keeping Monday's video mostly towards like me working in my sketchbook, as well as usually keeping the amount of footage to a minimum. And oftentimes I usually do like time lapses for those videos just to keep the kind of like the, what is it called, the video kind of short. But for today, because I didn't actually like the sketchbook session that I actually recorded, I am using the footage from what I thought was going to be this week's Wednesday's video for today's video, because it's still a sketching session and I thought maybe it'd be still suitable, as well as like I don't know if I like these sketches enough for me to make it Wednesday's video, so I'll probably do something else. So if you guys would like to suggest any Genshin characters for me to sketch for Wednesday's video, I will do that. So feel free to leave some suggestions down below. So for today's video, I am going to be doing some sketches in the Strathmore sketchbook. I also have this, I believe it's a laptop stand kind of thing, the metal mesh thing that you guys see that I'm placing my sketchbook on. I like using it to prop up the book so that I'm not looking and craning my neck over, and it's just a little bit more comfortable for me to sketch when it's propped up. Also, this pencil I'm not going to be using throughout the video. I thought I was going to use it today, but it just feels a little bit too bulky, so maybe I'll use it when I'm not doing a video so I can comfortably hold it. But for like these looser drawings or drawings where I feel like I need a little bit more pressure, or not need pressure, I feel more pressure, I need to use my normal pencil, which is just a Bic mechanical pencil in HB, and it is in 0.5. Yeah, today we are drawing Cyno because I feel like I didn't really do like an actual proper drawing of him, including like majority of his outfit, so I wanted to at least do some waist up kind of poses for him, and I was hoping to do some poses that were going to include his pole arm, but I actually didn't think of any poses that could, you know, nicely demonstrate that. I think it's because like I was a little bit too intimidated to do it, so maybe in the future. But for now, yeah, if you guys would like to suggest any Genshin characters for me to sketch, I would like to do either maybe a spread or two, we'll see, or not spread, a page or two in this sketchbook, and just do a bunch of sketching just like this. I think I've mentioned this like plenty of times before, but using pencil, especially like a mechanical pencil, is my favorite way to sketch in general, because I like building up value. I also just like the simplicity of just using the one medium kind of thing, and using a mechanical pencil, it's like I have an endless pointy tip for the sketching, because I like being able to shade consistently or to make sharp lines when needed without having to carry around a sharpener or worry about the lead breaking because of the core being shattered, if that makes sense. So it's just easier for me to use like a mechanical pencil. One thing that I do change in terms of whenever I get like a pencil, and it's more like a cheaper pencil, I usually don't do this if I'm like have a more aesthetically pleasing pencil, or it's like, I don't know, just like a more expensive one. Cheaper ones I don't mind, because I don't mind if it gets messy or a little bit, you know, roughened up. So I would stick a little bit of a ball of a kneaded eraser to the end. So for the Bic mechanical pencils, I can easily change the lead by just shoving it through the tip rather than taking off the eraser, which is a lot of mechanical pencils do. So I don't mind plopping like a little kneaded eraser to the end of it. And I think, yeah, I picked this habit up from watching, I think it's Birdie's video. So basically, I think when I was kind of in a traditional art slump, one person that I really like their sketches is It's Birdie. He has really cool pencil sketches, and just like the energy and keeping a lot of the lines in and kind of just sprucing things up with pencil. I just like the way he sketches and stuff, and I feel like generally very appealing sketches and drawings. So one thing he does is definitely uses a kneaded eraser on the end of his pencil, so I've picked up that habit from like high school era, I think, for me. So it's been like, has it been almost 10 years? I think it's almost 10 years of doing this as a habit. I think my preferences in terms of using pencils has also shifted. In middle school up until probably a good chunk of high school, I've always used like the Dr. Pilot mechanical pencils. They look almost like a weird, thicker barrel. They're really pretty colors. There's like a silver and kind of like a pearlescent blue color. I believe there's like a white and a different color as well. But basically it has like a giant barrel that's really easy to grip, and it doesn't make your hand feel like you're gonna hit carpal tunnel, as well as you could shake it to make the lead come out. And I used to like religiously only use those two pencils. I think up until high school, I think I lost my blue one for a little bit, or it stopped working. And then I lent my silver one to another classmate because he didn't have a pencil. And yeah, so I kind of switched in between using whatever pencils that I had. And I had big pencils quite a bit as well growing up. So I had a batch from junior high that I just pulled out, used in high school. And then I kind of continued using them in uni along with some other thinner pencils. I don't know if it's just like the way how I grip my pencils now, that I no longer feel the need to have such a thick barrel, which is why I feel like I'm struggling a little bit with the pencil that you guys would have saw earlier in the video that I started off with, which is kind of like that grayish teal pencil, because it does have a thicker barrel. It just for me it feels awkward to hold. This one feels a lot more easier for me to hold, and I don't know, maybe it's because I also use the Apple Pencil and it's in similar size. I remember using my old like Wacom tablet, my Intuos I believe. What is it called? The stylus or the pen is a little bit thicker, and I remember switching from that to like just mechanical pencils and stuff, and I feel like there's a difference. My current tablet that I use in terms of like not the iPad is a Gaomon tablet, and it has a little bit of a thinner what is it called? Tablet pen. And before I didn't like it because I would like the rubber part to be a little bit thicker so it'd be easier to hold. But because I've been using so many thinner pens, it's actually been quite comfortable. So I went on like a pencil tangent. In terms of the drawing, yeah, I drew Sino kind of with this simple pose so we can get used to of his outfit, as well as I was just wanting to draw something a little bit more flowy in terms of like his hair and his, I don't know what you call it, headpiece, I'm not too sure, helmet, I don't know what you would call it, head garment, and then he has kind of flowy bits as well as on around his waist, so I kind of wanted to include that. Now I did mention that I don't really like the sketches that I did for Cyno, and I'm mostly talking about the second one, and there's just some anatomical issues, as well as I just didn't like the way I drew his face. I definitely like the way I drew Cyno's face, like his face here, a lot more. But maybe in the future I'll draw him again and just draw him in my own time and try to get used to his design, because Cyno as a character I really do like, and playing him is actually quite fun along with Kokomi and Nahida, just doing like aggravate, I believe it's aggravate or something like that, whatever is the reaction that you do with Electro and Dendro. It's fun to play, and you know, his playstyle is also very different from some of the rotations that I do for my teams, so he's been quite fun. I haven't used him in the Abyss because I don't think I've built him properly enough for me to want him to put into one of my rotations, but having him on my Overworld team right now, because I'm building Friendship, it's been fun playing him for sure. And he's been quite fun as a DPS for now, so yeah. In terms of the drawing, so you guys would have saw that I did kind of a rough pose in the beginning, and then I started to add in his face, his different pieces of his clothing, like different garments and stuff, as well as kind of planning a little bit of the direction of his hair. And for the most part, I'm not erasing too much. As long as I'm working lightly, I don't have to resort to using my larger kneaded eraser. I did use it right in the beginning because I changed poses like almost immediately. But a lot of smaller details, or the majority of erasing, I can usually get away with by using just the kneaded eraser on the end of the pencil. Also, I highly recommend, if you do not like visually your pencils looking like kind of grubby or dirty, I don't recommend putting a bunch of pencils with a bunch of kneaded erasers on the end. I feel like they get stuck on everything and everywhere, so yeah. it's something to keep in mind. I feel like it doesn't get too bad once they've gathered a lot of graphite, and then after some time of not really using it, they kind of get a little bit more like stiff, so it becomes a little less tacky. But for the most part, like, I don't really mind. And a lot of times when I look at some of my old pencils, they have a little bit of residue due to the kneaded eraser, and sometimes this looks gross to some people, I think, but for me, I don't really care. For sketching, Cyno, like I said, I went light, and then I added details very lightly. And then when I'm going in to do some final lines and darkening things up, I like working from top to bottom, as well as, if I can, I will try my best to work left to right. If I feel like I'm not going to be able to do that and I worry about smudging, I do keep an extra piece of paper under my hand. This time I have a little rectangular piece of cardstock under my hand so that we can kind of keep it kind of clean, as well as keeping my oils from my hands off the page. I know some people might not see the purpose of keeping a piece of paper under your hand, so and I think it comes from the idea that dragging the paper is not really any better as you dragging your hand, other than if you don't want to keep your hand like clean, or if you think you don't want to get oils on your paper, right? But the point is, when you're moving the piece of paper, you're kind of lifting it up a little bit and moving it back down, because it is true, if you just slide around the piece of scrap paper on top of your sketch, you are going to be smudging it, because it's going to be the same as like your sketchbook pages rubbing against each other, right? So just keep that in mind if you are doing it, or if you find that no matter how many times you put a piece of paper under your hand, it still smudges. Just make sure you're lifting it up every time you're shifting. Because usually when I do sketches like these and I'm doing more tighter lines and kind of sprucing things up, pushing the values a lot more, I'm mostly using my wrist rather than the whole arm. So I usually don't move the paper too often from where it is. I'm sorry if my voice feels like it's cutting out. Yeah. So, what else to talk about in terms of the sketch? Oh, I was kind of thinking how I wanted to draw Sino's body, because he does have his, his chest and his waist, kind of tummy area as well, kind of exposed. So I don't draw a lot of musculature that often, so I'm a little bit unfamiliar with it. The only one I know I draw often is Ito, but I believe he's kind of more like rippling abs type. So I wasn't too sure if I should have went into that direction with Sino, because he does seem a little bit more lean and very toned. He does have like, you know, some musculature, and you can see like definitely some kind of abs and stuff, but it's not as like defined as Ito's. And I should have probably found a reference so I could have looked up what does the body look like, because it kind of looks washboardy the way how I drew it, because I didn't give proper indentations or making it look like the abs are kind of popping forward rather than being flat with some kind of grid on his tummy. So I think I had that problem a little bit also on the second one, because like I said, I didn't really get a reference. Well, I should have. I didn't use a reference for this one. I used a little bit of a reference for the second one, just when I was trying to get the energy and the general posing for him. I probably should have kept the reference up for the entirety of it, because when I decided to do the one hand that's going to be receding, I didn't know how to draw it. So yeah, I should have kept the reference for that one. Maybe in the future I will remember to do that, because I was definitely not sure. Maybe it's because I had a feeling I was gonna not scrap the footage, but maybe not turn this into the... What did I name these videos? It's not the keep me company ones. It's the... I think it's just ASMR sketching, real time and no talking or something like that. It's part of that series. I'm gonna definitely do another one, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, with like various other Genshin characters, and probably film it tomorrow so that I can have it up for Wednesday. But in terms of Genshin, I hope you guys are enjoying the new event. I'm actually really liking it. I don't know if it's because it feels reminiscent of playing actual like Pokemon games and stuff. I don't know. The mushrooms are like... They're mushrooms, right? Shrooms? I don't know what you called them. Basically, they feel very much like you're training a little creature and stuff, and you make them fight, or you're like they're kind of like your pals and stuff. It's kind of cute. So it feels very much like Pokemon. And I'm actually like super excited for Pokemon. So me and my brother did pre-order the games, so I do hope they come in on time. And the reason is it's just like, I don't know, I think it's been a while since I've been excited for a game. So and I think it's also because I don't play a lot of games that are not like mobile anymore. I play Genshin on my phone, I play Tears of Famous and Ensemble Stars on my phone, and I think those are like pretty much the only 3 games I've been playing for the last few months anyways. Like, I think occasionally I would boot up either my brother's Switch and play Project Diva, I don't know why it's on his Switch, as well as Taiko, like Rhythm Festival, like Taiko no Tatsujin, that game. Yeah. I need to find a different section of games for myself to play on the Switch, I think. I think I want to maybe get Cult of the Lamb, as well as I think there's something called The Cruel King and the Great Hero or something. It has a really cute art style. I think story-based games with a cute art style is kind of the games I want to do or like play, as well as like any kind of like more farming kind of calm games. I know, like, I don't know, watching people play like Slime Rancher seems really calming and stuff, so maybe that would be nice. I think I just need to separate my hobbies a little bit because I haven't taken like a proper break, what it feels like. I'm either working on videos or drawing fan art for something else, or it just feels like I'm always drawing all the time, and I don't dislike it. It just feels like I feel like I'm like stuck almost, so maybe I need to take a break and do a different hobby. But I don't know, it's that weird cycle of like doing, like, feeling guilty not doing work, so you don't take a break, but then you want to take a break because you feel burnt out from work. It's kind of that thing, but maybe it's just me trying to, or at least wanting to, make a balance with it. But for now, like, being able to sketch things I enjoy is kind of nice. And I can't wait until I can actually start my new sketchbook, because I am getting sick and tired of seeing the sketchbook. Like, not the one I'm currently working in right now, but the one that you guys have been seeing for like sketchbook doodle videos. Is just, I need a break from it. I need a fresh start. I think it's because I want to work with more graphite, and I think I mentioned this last week with the marker doodling little spreads, is that I wanted to look for a larger sketchbook, and this one technically fulfills that need, but I only like using this if I am recording a longer session for a video. I don't know why I don't see myself sketching in the sketchbook for fun. Maybe it's because it's just a coiled bound sketchbook that I feel like I don't want to work in it as much. I pretty much only work on the one page anyways. Whenever I work on like sketchbooks that have a like perfect bound, I guess you could say, I like working on both pages because it can lay flat and I could do like a spread across the page. I know people are like, oh, if you have a sketchbook that has like the coils on it, just flip it on its side so the coils are at the top, and it makes the most sense for me, and this is why I like working this way. But I definitely like the length of it too. I don't know, maybe I'm just being picky. I'm literally like free-flowing my thoughts, and I don't know, it just sounds like I'm complaining at this point. So for the sketch, I think I mentioned that the pose, I did use a reference for the most part when I was doing the rough sketch, and then I forgot to sketch in the arm and I closed the reference, so I don't no longer have it. And I don't remember exactly the sequence that I clicked. I'm pretty sure it was some kind of Fire Emblem character, so maybe I can look for the splash art again. Because a lot of the Fire Emblem characters that I like looking at the splash art for, a lot of them are like polearm users or spear users. I don't remember what they label those characters as, so maybe I have to look at more of those, because I think they always have good artwork for like weapon usage, if that makes sense, like a character using a weapon. But the other thing I had problems with, so when I was initially sketching out Cyno, I think I actually did an okay job of doing his torso, but once I drew his like waist and kind of his thigh and crotch area, I guess, like that lower part of his body, and I connected it to his waist and hip kind of area, I kind of lost the idea of that. Look, it kind of makes it not look like his what is it called, abdomen, tummy-ish area is receding. His torso is no longer receding, so it made his body look really short, which is kind of my problem, because I made it short, I made his other arm really short as well, and because both of them look short, it makes his head looks really big. So that's why I don't really like this piece too much. But I also have gripes about his face. I don't think I drew his demeanor quite correctly. So yeah, I will reattempt him maybe in the future, or maybe I'll just draw him freely in my sketchbook later and not do it for a video, so I could just really get that practice in. That, or maybe Wednesday I will do Etheria sketches. We'll see. I know I mentioned earlier that I was going to do Genshin ones, but I've been doing mostly Niji-sanji sketches like as a group, or as like a wave, I guess, for those specific videos. It's just fun to do because there's multiple characters and I kind of wrap my head around how I want to draw the individual characters. But for Etheria, because there's 4 of them, I don't really want to draw them the same way I did Noctix or Luxia, because they have 5 members and I only did like headshots for them, and then I did one larger doodle for my Oshi. But for Etheria, I kind of want to do like a group piece where they're all interacting. It might be a little bit too much, but we'll see. But yeah, hopefully you guys don't mind a different video for today in terms of formatting. I know a lot of you guys usually like hearing the real pencil sounds and stuff, so I decided to leave them in. And this one is not in time-lapse mode because I thought you guys would like to see how I sketch in real time, because I know not everyone watches the Keep Me Company videos or the videos where it's like pure ASMR sounds and no talking or whatever. It's just like text, probably because like they're an hour to like 3 hours long, so I know a lot of people don't want to sit around and watch that. So hopefully this is a little bit more digestible for the people who might be interested in how I work with pencil. Yeah, graphite is my favorite way usually sketching, and I usually like taking my time because I think I have no idea, maybe 45 minutes for each, maybe an hour each, I'm not too sure. I think the footage was around 2 hours, so yeah, can't be too long for each of them, but I usually like taking my time if I can. I know some people like sketch super speedy, but that's not me, not for pencil. I will spend my time rendering and just like trying to flesh out the values and stuff as much as I can, kind of push the values, push those dark areas so we can have the highlights and stuff just pop out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video though, and yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it here for the narration, so I'll talk to you guys next time on Wednesday. Bye!